I'm here today at the small acreage, the small woodland that we have done timber stand improvement on. And so we're going on almost, well, this is the 4th year after timber stand improvement. So we did a very aggressive timber stand improvement, cut out a lot of different not so great species, a lot of species where we had too many of, and we're just sort of the good healthy species that we wanted to keep. We got some area for them to be able to grow larger and healthier. So a lot of the emphasis that we were looking at was how well the deer population did, how many more deer sightings that had occurred, prevalence of how many sightings we've seen larger, more mature bucks on. You know, those are the type of things that I was looking for and wanted to improve, you know, as well as species diversity and things like that. So, you know, we've seen that without a doubt, a lot more mature bucks that have moving through this area, whereas before we could hunt this area, maybe took a few does off of it. Now we actually see a lot of mature deer running through here, and not only just moving through here, but they're holding in here. There's a lot more nutrition. There's a lot more food. You know, unlocking the potential of this forest floor and having all that new stuff be able to grow up. You know, increasing the size of the acorn harvest by having healthier trees and all that stuff has just brought about a much larger volume of food for deer. So our other goal was, of course, to spread diversity, native species, the type of trees that we have here. And that was to bring about more diversity in the animals that it attracts. You know, certain species, they favor one thing or another, and so by having a large diversity of trees, you're going to have a larger diversity of insects, you're going to have a larger diversity of birds that feed on those insects, and it goes all the way down the line. Just a lot more native species, a better habitat, a healthier population of animals. You know, adjacent to this property, I'd hunted nearly my entire life, and you know, growing up I seen a lot of turkeys that would pass through this area. It was nothing to see flocks of 20 to 30 turkeys. For the most part, I seen a very gradual downward decline in the amount of sightings. So 3-4 years ago, I would go and sit through an entire deer season, and I wouldn't primarily hunt only around here. The majority of it would be, I'd be lucky maybe if I seen 2 or 3 sightings of turkeys. Very unusual. So I've done a couple things on this property. I have very, very aggressively trapped nest raiders, possum, raccoons, and been lately here trying to trap coyote, bobcat, you know, fawn killers, predators, things like that. So I know that I'm not gonna wipe out the entire population, but to put a dent into it and to kind of control the population is my only objective there. Been also using the furs. They're not really worth a whole bunch right now, unfortunately, but I have used them for my own little projects. And so instead of having that resource just exponentially get large populations and then die off, I'm trying to use the resource and you know, actually find some value in it. And so the other thing that we've been doing around here to help the turkey populations is the TSI and looking at species and stuff that help turkeys. So turkeys are a lot like deer. They like a diverse habitat, you know. They enjoy a lot of different nuts and stuff, but they really do well with insects and finding insects. I've opened up a lot of crops and I find a lot of small insects in there. And from what I've read, it's especially important for poults to be able to have that habitat where they can walk through, kind of that grass that's not too high to get through, but that they can do some scratching and they can catch bugs and they can get a very healthy diet of bugs. It's a high protein source and it helps them grow fast. So they can get out of that poult phase as quickly as possible to avoid predators. So I came in here this morning to cut some firewood, as I said, and I was kind of browsing around. You know, I take my time, I look and kind of see what's changed and what's going on. And so the first thing that I notice is there is just an immense amount of turkey scratching. So actually I took a DR brush mower and I went through and I made some trails throughout here just to make it a little bit easier for me to cut firewood. And what they've done is they've been, all those sprouts that have come up from those tiny trees that I've shaved off, those little sprouts have come up, and they've been kind of digging around in there, you know, clawing the leaves around and getting the little sprouts and getting the little insects and stuff that have been kind of hiding in these leaves. And because we've taken some trees out and we've opened up that canopy that allows that sunlight to come in, then I've come through with a brush mower, because honestly, we had almost a monoculture of these like sumac plants. And so by taking those down, a lot of that native seabed has been able to come up and compete with that. And so it has the potential to hold a lot more insects in there. So those turkeys have really enjoyed that. So I would say this past year especially, and maybe some last year, but especially this year, the turkey population has really exploded. Just being able to come out here and hunt and see turkeys 1 out of every 4 times is a really big deal for us. And to be able to sight a lot more sign, I've been able to hear them a lot more. I've heard them roosting and getting out of the roost. There's just more turkeys here. It's hard to argue the point. So I believe it's a combination of the timber stand improvement and just improving the forest land, as well as trapping those predators out. The amount of nest raiders that have gotten out of the population has allowed for the turkeys to have a much more successful hatch. So I'm hoping in the next couple of years we're gonna have turkeys like we used to back when I was a kid in the golden days, and I'm looking forward to that. And so if you're looking into timber stand improvement and you're kind of on the fence about it, there's just one more aspect of why I think it's a pretty good practice if it works well for your particular woodland.